Now we can start the exciting part, which is doing the actual pastel. Because we've done the homework, we've done the simplified shapes of the big shapes, medium shapes to little shapes, and we've worked out the light, medium and dark tones. So we can simplify the actual build-up of the pastel painting into 3 other categories, if you like. The first part is sketching in, and the second part will be the blocking in, and the third part will be build-up. But the sketch in first. I've marked out roughly where my picture size is going to be. And my sketch here gives me an immediate idea as to where these simple shapes are going to be. My drawing, my sketching in, is minimal. I keep it absolutely simple. For instance, I've only got about a third, the bottom third, which is going to be my foreground, and the top 2/3 are going to be the sky with a little bit of the hills in the background, so they can sort of come in about there. Very sketchy, very loose. Remember I said about simplifying the block of trees here? So I could take that shape, rather than draw a triangle, I'm just going to give it a wavy line just to show basically where the shape comes from. And the same here, I'm going to have trees coming in about this height, coming down, working the way to here. X marks the spot, just off centre where the focal point will be, which will be probably this dark archway here of the old farmhouse. So the farmhouse itself can go in something like there to there, and that's the little shed part at the side. I've also got the main division in the foreground here. I'll just have a little path. That's enough detail for now. Similarly, this big expanse of sky here, I want to sketch in the main divisions of the clouds. For instance, this lovely big puffy clouds coming here. There's another bank of cloud coming across there. So that divides that into, say, 2 shapes for a start, and then a third shape, and a little bit more bank of cloud here. Now, it's just very simple mark making to block in that sketch, but it gives you the main areas where you're going to start blocking in certain colours. And if you have something structured like a building, then you could just simplify the drawing at this stage by putting in the main shape, not with too much detail. It's not going to be that big a building. That's the main structure of it here. I'm not going to put the tower part in just yet. That's a little bit more of a complicated structure. Remember I said big shapes first, small shapes later. So it's the same with the building. I'm just getting the main large shape into position first of all. And that will be easier to subdivide into smaller shapes later. I'll drop the line of the ground down a little bit there. And that could even come up a little bit here to make it more interesting. And eventually the centre of the tower will be there. That's really enough for now. There's no point in drawing too much detail because it's like a painting. I'm going to be blocking in colour next in part 2, and therefore I don't want to have too much detail to work around. Now the second stage is, after the sketching, is the blocking in. And that means blocking in a little bit of everything. So for instance, I can immediately, with the mid-tone paper, lighten up the sky by taking a fairly light block of white right across there. Now, I don't want to lose my original shape of the clouds, but even just by leaning slightly heavier on the cloud formation and then pulling that down, that makes an immediate impression to say that the sky is going to be lighter. I've chosen, by the way, a mid-tone paper grey, and you'll notice that it's got this lovely textured surface. Now this paper has got 2 surfaces, and one is slightly rougher than the other. There's no right or wrong side, and I've chosen the rougher side to show you the texture and to show that the sort of exchange between the grey can be shown through in some places. Therefore, where it's going to be at its lightest, for instance here and here, I just simply put on the white a little bit stronger. I lean a bit heavier. That's enough for now. And then I move down towards the background hills, which will come in with a sort of mid-tone colour. I'm just reading them as blue just now. I'm going to take them just behind the hills as well, sorry, behind the trees. So a little hint like that. A touch of grey can come through there too, because it's an ideal tone for the background hills. And then some of the greens are starting to get a little bit warmer. So this green here is going to be used as a blocking colour, just to simplify what this mass of trees is going to look like initially. So that's again a simple shape there. And I can use the same green on this side to show the other block of trees. And by doing that, I can now go back and just make an early reminder that the block of trees on this side are going to be much darker, because remember, my preliminary sketch gave me the opportunity to work out these darkest darks. So I'm going to take these down. In fact, I'm going to drop them down a bit lower. So I'm just going to lower that to about there. Remember, the beauty of keeping the original sketch quite loose and not too detailed is that I can move things about.